If you are thinking about buying a Tesla in 2021, then you need to watch this video because I am here to help you through the entire process, from research to rebates to test drives to the ordering process to the paperwork to delivery. I just went through the entire experience for a second time, and now with a lot more knowledge and a lot of recent experience, I want to help you navigate the entire process. So in this video, let me walk you through the entire Tesla ordering and delivery process of 2021, give you some tips, tricks, and secrets along the way, and just answer a bunch of questions about how it is to buy and live with a Tesla in 2021. So about a year and a half ago, I accidentally sort of stumbled into the world of Tesla YouTube. I uploaded a video after I took delivery of my Standard Range Plus Model 3 back in May of 2019, and the rest is kind of history. I've just been making videos about that car and about Tesla in general, features, tips, tricks, secrets, all that stuff, and I've kind of been very fortunate enough to foster a community with you guys of Tesla enthusiasts and Tesla owners. And if you enjoy Tesla content and digging into info about the company and its products, then you definitely want to subscribe to the channel, hit that button down below in order to do that. But now it was time to take that knowledge and actually put it to the test, and just a couple of days ago, I helped my parents take delivery of a 2021 long-range Model Y that just looks absolutely gorgeous. More on the delivery and all that stuff in a moment, but before that, let's rewind a bit and talk about how this whole thing even happened, and I'll kind of walk you through the process of what it's like to order and kind of answer some questions from the beginning. So first things first, my mom was looking to replace a 2007 Lincoln Navigator L. It was a great car for its time, still a great car 14 years later, but it had definitely seen better days, and it was time for this vehicle to move on to greener pastures. It was a huge car, it was a lot to manage, a lot to drive. It was certainly a gas guzzler as well, and it was just time for a change. And like most people, my mom looked at some options from Volvo and Kia and other auto manufacturers, and I think just kind of had this perception, like many do, that Teslas are just too expensive, that the base Tesla starting price tag is like that of the Model X, which is like $90,000 these days, and they're just kind of premium high-end luxury cars. And I think most people don't understand that there are, you know, kind of completely different models of Teslas. There are the S and the X, but there's also the 3 and the Y. It can get a little confusing if you don't really follow the company closely, or at least kind of have a general idea of the different models. Most people still associate Tesla with kind of their first, news of information that they heard about it a number of years ago with those super high-end premium luxury cars like the S and the X, which are still great, but things have really kind of drastically changed since then over the past couple of years, and the 3 and the Y are really here to deliver that premium electric experience for a much more affordable price. So as she was kind of talking to me about the different cars she was looking at, I kind of just mentioned the Model Y, that it would be maybe a great fit for her. It'd kind of be bigger than the 3, but not as big as something much larger like a full-size SUV. It was all electric, it had all the tech, it was premium, and that it was just going to be a really comfortable experience that I actually thought she'd like a lot. We also took this opportunity to run through Tesla's trade-in estimator, which I actually had never done before, and it was kind of cool to go through that process. It was really simple. You put in the VIN, you put in the mileage on the odometer, and some other small bits of information, and Tesla will give you an estimate that you can use, kind of compare to Vroom and Carvana and CarMax and others, and it was a really kind of promising experience. Tesla seemed to be giving a little bit more money than the competition, which made this whole kind of predicament even that much more interesting. And my parents had kind of seen my Model 3 over the past couple of months, and they had taken rides in it and stuff like that, but I don't think they really seriously considered it or took a look at it. So as we kind of talked about the Model Y, I took my mom outside to the driveway and we took a little look into my Model 3 and kind of what the features were, what it was like to drive, stuff like that. And we did go on a little test drive and I kind of talked about some of the features. But the big thing for her, and I think for most people, is the difference between the 3 and the Y. They are very similar in many ways, but there also are some big differences. The biggest being the size. The Model 3 is a sedan, the Model Y is like a crossover sort of SUV that's not maybe like as big as a Lincoln Navigator, but certainly not as small as a Model 3. So there was a little bit more to consider there. So after kind of going through our own little test drive, we decided why not try to do an actual test drive of a Model Y and get her behind the wheel of one of those to really kind of take a look at for herself and look at in person. So we went on the Tesla website, we went to go schedule a test drive, and it just so happened that there was one available later that night in just a few hours, which is great because I was going to be going home later that evening, and it was nice that I could kind of be be around and could stick around a little bit to answer any questions when she did that test drive. So great, things are sort of moving in the right direction. Now, this was a point where all my Reddit, Tesla Motor Club forum knowledge kind of started to kind of go all throughout my head, and I was thinking about doing an overnight test drive, which for those who don't know, Tesla supposedly used to offer the ability to do test drives overnight. So you could go kind of when the store closed, you could pick up the car, enjoy it overnight, really kind of get a good feel for it in your driveway and drive it around town for more than just 30 minutes of the standard test drive, and then return it the next day, usually before the store opened or just about when it opened to regular customers, which is a great option. Though after calling Tesla directly and then speaking with the representative at the store, apparently they no longer do overnight test drives, which is weird because I had just seen multiple forum threads and Reddit posts about people doing overnight test drives of Teslas. So maybe this was a thing before that they were doing that they're no longer doing and Tesla's telling the truth. Maybe they just don't do it with Model Ys or in this particular location in Southern California. I'm not really sure what the story was, but there was no opportunity to do an overnight test drive. We just kind of had to go for the standard 30-minute test drive. So we did the test drive, I answered some more questions, and then went home on my merry way, and that seemed to be that. Until the next day, when we followed up on the conversation a little bit more, and she decided that she did want to move forward with actually getting the Model Y, which was super exciting, which now leads us to the actual ordering process and what that entails. So you can go on the Tesla website and configure the color of the exterior and the interior and the wheels. You can do that all to your personal liking. But the biggest choice obviously is going to be, besides which model you're going to get, is going to be the battery capacity and what you opt for. Now, currently there are technically 3 versions of the Model Y, sort of. The long range and the performance are the only versions you can officially buy on Tesla's website, while the standard range Model Y is sort of in Tesla purgatory. It existed officially, then it didn't exist, then it officially existed again, then it didn't. Apparently you can call and special order this car, but I just didn't want to jump through those hoops of having to wait for that car and see when it was going to get produced and when it wasn't. The status of that car is still really up in the air, so I didn't really want to deal with that. And also, besides kind of wanting to get this car sooner than later, I knew my parents also needed more range. I knew they would be much more worried and hesitant with a smaller battery, and just knew that typically, as kind of the rule of thumb goes, that I've talked about many times on this channel before, you typically want to try to buy as much battery as you can afford at the time. And I knew for them, having a bigger battery was going to be very important, especially because they did want to do a lot of road tripping in that car as well. So for all those reasons, plus more I've outlined in other videos, the long range model just made sense. So we decided to proceed with a long range Model Y in this configuration that just looks downright beautiful. Also, at the time of ordering is when you want to use a referral link. If you want to use mine, I'd appreciate it. You can click it right down below. And if you go through a referral link, you will get 1,000 miles of supercharging for free. So the person you refer, like my mom in this case, she gets 1,000 miles free of supercharging. I get 1,000 miles free of supercharging, and it's a win-win for everybody. So if you are going to order a Tesla, before you proceed, hit that link down below to go through my referral link. I would greatly appreciate it. And you and I both get something for basically doing nothing. Now, before we placed order, I did actually want to check Tesla's existing inventory for vehicles, because typically if you can find a car with your specific trim level and color customization already produced, then it's going to be easier and probably much faster to get it, because you can basically buy that car and they'll match you to that VIN, and you can take delivery much faster than getting a custom car made from the Fremont factory and then produced and delivered. So I did do a little looking for a couple days to see if I could find the Model Y in her specific customization, but just could not find it with those specifics. So I did a little looking, especially here in SoCal, there are usually lots of cars available to choose from, but none happened to be available. There wasn't anything with that current spec, so we just decided to do a brand new order. So the only thing you actually need to get the process going and to kind of get the ball rolling is a $100 deposit on the vehicle. Now this is different. In the past, it used to be, I think, a $1,000 deposit you'd have to pay in order to initiate an actual order, but now it's just $100. So you don't actually have to kind of come up with $1,000 or the full amount for the car, however you're going to finance it, until you get a little bit closer to your delivery date. So just $100 and a credit card later, and your model is now ordered, and you're ready to kind of proceed to the next step, which is kind of unlock behind the actual Tesla website. So now that the order is placed, you can log into the Tesla account with the credentials you just created, and then you kind of get this sort of back-end system of all the information that you need to fill out. And it can be a little daunting, but just want to kind of tell you to keep in mind that you can kind of take your time on this. Obviously, there are some easy things that you can start with, but things like financing and delivery date and all that stuff do take some time. And from what I've heard from others who have bought Teslas in the past and who have asked Tesla representatives directly, you don't have to get financing done right away in order to get your car closer to delivery. Tesla is not going to obviously let you take possession of the car without getting your financing in order, but they're not going to slow down your process if you don't get that financing done like within an hour of ordering. So just kind of keep in mind that you can kind of take this at your own pace, though generally the faster you get this all filled out and the faster you get it all done, the sooner things will kind of be all completed and the sooner you can potentially get your car and take delivery. So the first piece of info that you got to fill out is your delivery address. So this is for Tesla's benefit and for your benefit, so they can figure out if they're going to be doing a home delivery, if there's no service center or no delivery center near you within a certain mile radius, or if you can go to a delivery center or service center and take delivery of your car there. In this case, we're in Southern California, so there were multiple service centers to choose from, so we were able to kind of have our choice of which one we went to go with. But in some cases, if you're kind of not near anything at all, I don't know what the limitations are, what the criteria are, but Tesla will do a home delivery for you if you're far enough away from someplace. Though in this case, we just put our address in and we were able to pick one location that was about 15-20 minutes away, which was super simple. Next one is also pretty simple. It's just the registration details of the car. So again, this is stuff like the name, the address, stuff like that. Tesla does want you to also upload a photo of your driver's license, which worked effortlessly and without any issue for my mom. But in my case, when I did this a couple of years ago, I had nothing but issues trying to get the system to recognize this picture of my license. I'm not sure if they resolved that or if it was a weird fluke on my part, but it was super simple and there was no errors or issues or anything as we kind of got the ball rolling and started to fill out information. Everything just seemed to work super simply. The pages were a little slow to load, even on a fast connection, so just kind of keep in mind that it's not your internet, it's probably Tesla's site getting a little bogged down. It can be a little slow, but just be patient, just fill out the information, click next, and just kind of give it some time to load and everything will be okay. After that was all done, you then have the option to say if you want to trade in a vehicle or not. And this was a first for me. I'd never actually done the trade-in process through Tesla. I'd heard pretty good things about the process. So I was kind of curious to see what it was like for myself. And it was actually really easy, at least this part was, in terms of getting a value for the car. So I showed you before the kind of trade-in estimator. This was actually going to send your information off to an actual representative, which was going to give you an appraised value that Tesla would take the car for. And it was a little bit more involved. Essentially, you again fill out some more information, you get the odometer reading, stuff like that, and then you just have to take a couple of photos of the car, the front, the back, the two sides, the odometer, to make sure there are no warning lights or anything like that, and the actual mileage, and then an inside car of kind of the seats and the condition. This took about probably 5 minutes, probably the most lengthy part, just because you have to go out and take pictures and stuff like that. And once you get all the info filled out, it was pretty simple. Tesla sends this off and says to kind of check back later at a later date to get your actual trade-in value of what Tesla's going to offer for the car. And last but not least is the financing tab, where you actually have to kind of figure out how you're going to pay for the car. You can either lease the car directly through Tesla, you can do financing directly through Tesla, or you can get outside lending from a bank if you want to get an auto loan, or even pay all cash for the car if you want to do it that way as well. But this is where you fill out all that information and you can kind of make up your mind which way you want to go. There are lots of threads and forum posts on different subjects and what people decided to do or work best for them, whether Tesla lending was good or bad. You can decide that all for yourself, but this is where you kind of fill out that information and get that all finalized. Again, Tesla does not punish you if you don't get that done like as quick as possible, but you generally want to kind of get that done sooner than later to kind of keep everything going and make sure you get your car delivered as soon as possible. So now that that was all done, it was just a matter of kind of waiting to fill out all that information from kind of ordering through uploading photos and stuff like that. Probably took about 20-25 minutes as I kind of talked through the options on the phone with them and took care of stuff like that. It was actually pretty simple. And then it was just kind of waiting to see when the car was actually going to come. The estimate that we got on the Tesla website was between 1 and 10 weeks, which with Tesla can either mean like you'll get the car in 3 days or you'll get it in 9 weeks and 6 days. There really is sort of no in between. In my experience, it usually kind of moves really fast or really slow. Was interesting though, I want to point out that we did purchase this right before the end of the quarter. So I was curious to see if we would be kind of in the end of the quarter push to get this car delivered as soon as possible, or if we were going to kind of wait through that slump and would be on the next batch of cars coming off the line in Fremont. I was very curious to see, but just kind of had to wait a bit to see what was actually going to happen, if we were going to be within the 1 week or the 10-week mark. So the next day, I logged on to the account a little later into the morning and saw some good news, that there actually was an estimated delivery date for that week. It was March 31st through March 31st, which was later corrected to March 29th through 31st, but it was safe to say that the car was definitely going to be coming before the end of the quarter, and just in like 2 days. We had ordered the car on a Sunday night, and we were supposed to take delivery on a Wednesday. So it was all super exciting. My mom was super excited, and we kind of wanted to get through the rest of the process. A couple of hours later, there was actual VIN assigned to our order, so there was a real car that was assigned to her order, so she actually had a car ready and kind of linked up to the account. And then a few hours after that, this is the same day on Monday, an actual trade-in value came in from Tesla, which was not as high as the estimate that they had quoted us, even though all the information was the same, though it was still higher than Carvana, CarMax, and Vroom by about $1,000. So it was still worth it to trade the car in through Tesla. We accepted the term that they were offering, and now we're moving closer and closer to actually taking delivery. So the next day, someone from Tesla contacted my parents directly to set up a time to confirm their delivery date on Wednesday, which was super cool to see. And then we had to kind of do a couple of other steps in the process in the back end in order to finish up and get everything ready to go for delivery. It was uploading proof of current insurance, accepting some finance terms, and then doing some of the final paperwork and payment in order to take delivery of the car. This was kind of interesting because when I took delivery of my car 2 years ago, I had to bring a check with me and sign some paperwork when I was actually there when I took delivery of the car. I'm not sure if this is because of the pandemic or because 2021 is more advanced in digital, but all that actually happened on the website itself before we even took delivery of the car. So uploaded that information, signed some documents, and then do your final payment either through ACH or a wire transfer, no credit card for that part. And once you do all that, you're pretty much good to go. Your final payment is sent over to Tesla, so all that is all good to go. You've got all your documents and forms complete, and now you just get to go take delivery of the car and just kind of enjoy that experience for all the good that it is. So the day finally came to take delivery of the car. I drove up to be with my parents to kind of see what the process was like and to answer some questions and help them get the car all up and running. And I gotta say, overall, all in all, it was a pretty smooth experience. The Tesla representative we had helping us was super nice. He answered all the questions, kind of made sure we had all the paperwork in order and all good to go. And as I kind of did a little look around of the car, I didn't see any big manufacturing issues or any kind of issues at all. No panel gaps, no scratches, scrapes, anything like that. I think the car had like 18 miles on it, so it was still pretty much brand new, and there was no issues at all. No issues on the inside, the outside. I know a lot of people have had some horrible horror stories and have done checklists to kind of make sure everything looked good, but I'll tell you, the car looked really good. There were no issues, and everything was just kind of super, super simple. We got to see the car, got to look inside, got to fill out a little bit more paperwork on the trade-in through the phone, and then, interestingly enough, you actually accept delivery on the phone. So you can go through the Tesla website, you log in. After the car looks all good, you can just basically tap a button on the website to accept delivery, and then the car reboots a couple of times to get out of the kind of pending delivery software setting, and then kind of unlocks everything and you're good to go. So then you can set up all the adjustments, you can set up digital keys, premium connectivity is activated, and everything is basically good to go. It was a super seamless process, and I'll say from getting there and checking in, and mind you, this is the end of the quarter, the day of the end of the quarter, so they got a lot of influx of people in there. From driving in to seeing the car to checking it out to finishing the paperwork and kind of in and out was probably about 40-45 minutes. So not bad at all. It was pretty fast, and Tesla definitely has stepped up their efficiency game, and everything was pretty smooth. And as you can see, the car itself is absolutely beautiful. My mom got the pearl white exterior with the larger 20-inch wheels. She got the white interior as well. And this is, I think this is the combo I would go with if I was to get a Model Y. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The factory chrome delete is probably my favorite part, and it just looks like a fantastic car. The only weird quirks, if any, again, to nitpick, is that the software on the car was older. Again, it was where the map was larger, the interface was a little bit older, and it wasn't the current software update that we have right now. And also, even switching the car to advanced mode, there still was no way to sort of force a software update. I'm sure if I called Tesla and nagged them, I could do it, but I just figured, why not enjoy this slightly better experience on the older software for a little bit longer until a software update comes. So that was kind of it. It was just a little bit of older software, but besides that, the car ran fine. It looked great on the inside and outside, and no complaints. The delivery process was super seamless. So from test driving on a Saturday night to ordering on a Sunday night to having the paperwork filled out by Tuesday and taking delivery on Wednesday afternoon, it was all pretty seamless. And honestly, when the Tesla machine as a whole is efficient and all the parts work together, it's a crazy good experience that really puts other auto manufacturers to shame. No muss, no fuss, no haggling, no negotiations, none of that. It's just a super easy and simple process from beginning to end. And it was really cool to see the Tesla process really hold up well in this experience and just kind of passed the test with flying colors with my parents, and it was super cool to see. So what are your thoughts on the Model Y and the Tesla ordering process in general? Have you had a good experience? Have you had a bad experience? Have you done a trade-in with Tesla? How did that go, good or bad? Let me know in the comments down below. And if there's any questions I can answer kind of on the ordering process in general, let me know. I'd love to answer any questions down below. Obviously, I've got more videos coming to compare the Model 3 to the Model Y, the premium sound system to the partial premium sound system. All that's coming very soon, so be sure to stay subscribed and stay tuned for that. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I will see ya in the next one.